Stress feels like it's all in your body sweating, fast heartbeat, butterflies in your stomach. But the real battlefield is actually in your brain. Let's take a journey into the brain to see what happens when we're stressed. The first stop on our journey is the brain's alarm system. Here we meet the amygdala, which is like a little detective. Its job is to keep an eye out for danger, both real and imagined. When it thinks it sees something that could be trouble, it sends a distress signal to another part of the brain called the hypothalamus. This kicks off the famous fight or flight response. Next, let's head over to the endocrine system, where the real action starts. Meet adrenaline, also known as epinephrine. It's the hormone that tells your heart to beat faster so you can run away from that tiger that's chasing you. It also gives you quick reflexes so you can dodge the falling bookcase before it crushes you. Thanks, adrenaline. But wait, there's more. There's also cortisol, the hormone that keeps you alert and focused so you can stay on top of your game. It's like a spotlight shining on the most important task at hand. But if it shines too brightly or for too long, it can drain your energy and make you feel awful. Now let's see what these hormones do to your brain. Immediately, the adrenaline rush gives you sharper focus so you can pay attention to the details. Your senses are heightened, too. You can smell the fresh-cut grass, hear the birds tweeting, and see the colorful flowers blooming. Suddenly, you're thinking faster, making decisions quicker, and feeling more alive. Wow, but hold on a second. What if this stress is chronic, like having a big test every day or doing a project with a tight deadline? Let's see how long-term stress affects your brain. First up, we have the hippocampus, which is your brain's memory center. It helps you remember important information and learn new things. But chronic stress can shrink this part of the brain, making it harder to remember things and learn. It's like trying to study for a test when you're exhausted and can't focus. Not fun. Next, we have the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for logic and planning. It helps you concentrate and pay attention to what's happening around you. But chronic stress can weaken this part of the brain, making it harder to concentrate and think clearly. It's like trying to solve a math equation when you have a million things on your mind. Not easy. And then there's the amygdala, the fear center of the brain. It's responsible for processing emotions and deciding how to respond to them. But chronic stress can make this part of the brain grow more active, which means it can trigger more fear and anxiety. It's like having a friend who's always worried about everything. They might be trying to help, but it can get annoying and stressful. In addition to these physical changes, chronic stress can also have a big impact on your mental health. Here are some ways it can affect you emotionally. You'll probably start to forget things more often and find it harder to pay attention. You might also have trouble sleeping, which can make it even harder to focus during the day. And here's the worst part. Chronic stress can make you more likely to get anxiety or depression, which are serious mental health conditions that can make life feel really hard. Okay, so now that we know what stress can do to our brains, let's talk about how it affects our bodies. Our brain is connected to our body by nerves. These nerves are like electrical wires that carry messages back and forth. When we're stressed, these messages can change, which can lead to some not-so-good things happening in our body. For example, being stressed for a long time can make us feel tired and worn out because our bodies are in a constant state of alertness. It's like running a marathon without ever getting to rest. Not fun. Being stressed for a long time can also make us more likely to get sick. That's because when we're stressed, our bodies make less of a chemical called cortisol, which helps fight off infections. So basically, when we're stressed, our bodies are less able to defend themselves against germs, which makes us more vulnerable to getting sick. Additionally, long-term stress can mess with our digestive system, making us have problems like irritable bowel syndrome or even ulcers. It's like when you're so stressed about a test that you forget to eat, or you're so nervous about a presentation that you get a stomachache. But with chronic stress, it's like that feeling never goes away. Finally, stress can affect our immune system, which is our body's way of fighting off infections and diseases. Basically, when we're stressed, our bodies don't work as well as they should to keep us healthy. So it's clear that stress isn't good for us, but what if we use it to our advantage? Short-term or acute stress can actually be helpful sometimes. Think about when you're replaying a video game and you need to be quick and focused to win. Or when you have a big project to finish and you're racing against the clock. That stress can help you perform at your best and get things done quickly. It's like having a turbo boost for your productivity. But just like a turbo boost, it can only last for so long. After that, you need to cool down and recharge. If you try to push yourself too hard for too long, you'll end up burning out and not performing well. So it's important to know how to use stress to our advantage and then let it go once we've finished what we needed to do. This can help us be more productive and focused without all the negative effects. Let's take a look at what happens inside your brain when you're stressed. When you feel stressed, your body releases chemicals called hormones, which travel to your brain and affect how it works. One of the hormones released is cortisol, also known as the stress hormone. Cortisol can affect many parts of your brain. For example, it can shrink the hippocampus, which is a part of the brain that helps with learning and memory. It also affects the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making and social behavior. Studies show that high levels of cortisol can actually weaken the connections between neurons in this area, making it harder for us to concentrate and think clearly. Lastly, cortisol also impacts the amygdala, which is in charge of processing emotions. When cortisol levels are high for a long time, it can make the amygdala grow, which can lead to more fear and anxiety. So now that we know how stress affects our brains, let's talk about how we can cope with it. Exercise is a great way to reduce stress because when you exercise, you release endorphins. These are natural feel-good chemicals that can improve your mood and reduce the levels of stress hormones in your body. Another way to cope with stress is to get enough sleep. Sleep helps restore many of the changes that stress hormones cause in your brain. It's like hitting the reset button. Finally, practicing mindfulness and meditation can help calm down your amygdala, the part of the brain that's responsible for processing emotions. By practicing mindfulness and meditation, you can learn to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, which can help you reduce stress and anxiety. Now that we know how stress affects our brains, let's talk about some ways we can hack it to our advantage. First, we can use the power of music. Listening to music can actually increase dopamine and serotonin levels in the brain, which are feel-good neurotransmitters. This means that listening to your favorite tunes can help you feel happier and more relaxed. Next, we have the power of laughter. When you laugh, your brain releases feel-good chemicals like endorphins and serotonin. So, watching a funny movie or hanging out with friends who make you laugh can be a great way to reduce stress. We also have the power of touch. Human touch, like a hug from a friend or a massage, can actually reduce levels of the stress hormone cortisol. It's like a free and easy way to relax and distress. Finally, we have the power of nature. Spending time in nature has been shown to reduce stress and anxiety levels. It can also improve your mood and overall well-being. So, next time you're feeling stressed, take a walk in the park or go for a hike in the woods. In conclusion, stress affects our brains in many ways, from changing the levels of chemicals that make us feel good to altering the structure of certain areas of the brain. But we're not powerless against stress. By understanding how it affects us, we can take steps to mitigate its negative effects and even use it to our advantage. So next time you feel stressed, remember to take a deep breath, find a way to relax, and know that you're not alone. We all experience stress, and it's a normal part of life. Just remember to take care of yourself and find ways to manage it effectively. Hey, thanks for watching. If you learned something new, hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear this. And if you'd like to continue learning, check out our other videos on similar topics. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future uploads. We've got lots of interesting stuff coming up.